Brethren, do you know what the wealthiest city in the world is? It has over 8 million people, a population of 8 million people. And out of these 8 million people, there are 384,000 millionaires. Not only that, but they also have the most number of billionaires. According to some statistics, they have about 60 to 100 billionaires in their city. Well, this is also the financial hub of the wealthiest country in the world, the United States. You probably already know. This is the New York City. This is a very wealthy city. The Wall Street is there. The New York Stock Exchange is there. And some of the most powerful corporations on earth are there. And because of that, every single inch of the city carries enormous value. Real estate in New York City is among the most expensive on the planet. So if you live there, if you work there in New York City, the mindset is very simple. You want to maximize every space, make sure everything is productive, make sure everything turns a profit, right? And yet, right in the middle of this concrete jungle, brethren, surrounded by some of the tallest skyscrapers you have ever seen, there is something that seems completely out of place. Right in the middle of the city, there is a park. There's a park. And not just a small patch of grass, with a bench, typically what we usually see, but it is a massive sprawling park that covers 341 hectares. That park is so massive. Just to give you a understanding, People's Park, the park that we have here in Davao, is just 4 hectares. Compare that to 341 hectares of land. Okay, so you would be able to see on the screen, this is what we call the Central Park. Okay, this is the Central Park. So can you please show the other pictures? Okay, so you could see there's a really huge difference between the Central Park and Manhattan, the New York City. So on the left, on my left, there's the concrete jungle, di ba? Concrete. There's skyscrapers, and then on the other side there are trees, shrubs. It's more greenery. So that's another view. So you could see the contrast of the city and the park, Central Park. Okay, let me see if there's another. Yeah, that's the bird's eye view of that park. Okay, that's actually 341 hectares. So the park has walking and jogging paths. There are lakes. There are 36 bridges and arches, each having their own unique design. There's even a castle inside. And then there are softball and soccer fields, a world-class zoo, ice skating rinks, playgrounds, fountains, woodland trails, and so much more. So grabe. This park is so massive that you can actually get lost inside that park. It's so massive. And what's so amazing is that it is so big that when you go to the heart of that park, the noise of the city will fade away. Suddenly you think that you are not in the city. You suddenly think, oh, this feels different. But actually, it is in the midst of a huge metropolitan. And if you would see this, everything that you see in Central Park, it's man-made. What's more remarkable about this is that this land does not come cheap, and it did not come easy, because when the city leaders decided to build Central Park in the 1850s, the area was not empty. Okay? There are already people who are living in that area. Okay? There are structures there, and the city government had to go in and remove those residents. displace entire communities just to make way for a park. Now, if you are a developer in the 1850s, you would see Central Park as a prime lot. That if you think, why are we building a park here? Why are we planting trees? Don't you see this is prime lot? This should be used for commercial areas. Okay? Because it's very strategic. It's right in the heart of Manhattan. In a city obsessed with profit and productivity, the government look at these hundreds of hectares and they say, okay, we are going to build the park. Which raises a question. Why build a park in the city? And why do we have to have parks? Can't we just have commercial areas, put everything in the name of progress? So, this is a question I want us to think about this afternoon. Because I believe the answer to this question, brethren, is going to point us back to the creation week. Because right in the time of that creation, God also built a spiritual central park for all of us. Okay? So that's what I want to use this analogy with. You see, brethren, the Central Park, even without it, New York City would still be New York. It would be productive and still powerful. But something essential will be missing. Okay? Studies have shown that access to green spaces like the Central Park reduces stress. It lowers blood pressure. It improves mental health and increases community connection. There's really a different, I don't know, I'm sure that you have also experienced it. When you are in a park, it's just have this different effect on our bodies. So you see, this park is not just a luxury for New Yorkers. This park is a necessity. Brethren, I believe God has also done something, the same thing with time. Look at our week, brethren. 7 days. And isn't it like a huge city like New York? It is packed with so much, I don't know, if depending on how you are, which stage in life you are already. But for me, it is packed with deadlines. There are a lot of projects. There are meetings. You have to bring your children to the school for students. Maybe you have school projects. There's a lot of things you need to buy, grocery list, bills, and repairs, notifications, obligations. There's so many in every side. It's like a huge city being surrounded. It's like you're being surrounded by a huge city. And you know what, brethren? We live in a world that glorifies being busy. Right? When you are busy, the people would say, "Uy, look at this person. He is so industrious, very dedicated. Look at this, wala nang pahinga. Wala na, sige lang siya trabaho. Grabe, talagang aasenso to tong taong to. Bilib ako sa taong to. Hindi na nagpapahinga." That's how our world thinks. They glorify busyness. And you know what? If you are resting, they believe that you are falling behind. O, huwag ka magpahinga. Mauunahan ka ng mga kalaban mo. Huwag ka magpahinga. Dapat dire-diretso. That's how our world operates. But you know what, brethren? During the first week of human history, God made a decision. He looked at the seventh day and made something that would serve as our central park. Let's go to Genesis 2, verse 2 to 3, brethren. Genesis 2, verse 2 to 3, it says, "By the seventh day, God had finished the work he had been doing. So on the seventh day, he rested from all his work. Then God blessed the seventh day and made it holy." You see, brethren, God could have simply made every day the same. Okay, every day, all these days in the week would be the same. Like the people in New York who might have simply thought that we should use every inch of New York as a commercial hub. And yet, Yahweh knows that this life is more than just hustle, work, and struggle. God created the Sabbath as a weekly reminder. Listen to this. God created the Sabbath as a weekly reminder to His people that we don't belong in the world. Have you ever thought about that, brethren? That the Sabbath is actually a reminder that this life is more than just work. It's more than just hustle, struggle, working. You see, the Central Park gives the people of New York a space to breathe. It gives them a place where the noise fades. It restores something that the city could slowly drain. And it's a place that builds communities. And when they enter the park, they get restored, refreshed, and they feel rested. That's exactly what the Sabbath does do to us. In Mark 2, verse 27, brethren, Mark 2, verse 27, Yeshua himself said, the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. So, Yeshua himself said that the Sabbath is a gift. It is a blessing. But sadly, a lot of people think that the Sabbath is a burden. It restricts their freedom. But that's not exactly what Yeshua here said. It is actually a gift. He said, the Sabbath was made for man. For example, the children, okay? The toys are made for the children. Okay, you don't say na, uy, we have toys here. Let's make children. That's upside down. Okay? The same thing with the Sabbath. Okay? The Sabbath was intended to be made for man. Okay? It's not the other way around that you would say, oh, we will make Sabbath and then we will make the people so that they could use the Sabbath. No, it's not like that. So it is a blessing. It reminds us what truly matters in our life. So before I end this message, let me just give you 4 quick tips on how we can use the Sabbath as our spiritual central park. Okay? So number 1, this is very important. Guard the Sabbath. Guard the Sabbath. The Sabbath does not automatically protect itself. Okay? You have to protect it. Meaning, you use Friday as a preparation day. We should not use the Sabbath in a way that, I forgot something, or I have not prepared, we have not done this, we have to use it, we have to do this on the Sabbath. No. Before the Friday evening comes, you have to decide what will you set down. What notifications will you silence? What errands will you finish before sundown so that when Sabbath comes, you are ready to enter it fully? Okay? So that is very important. You have to guard the Sabbath. Number 2 is rest is not weakness. Number 2, rest is not weakness. The person who works 7 days is celebrated. But I want to remind you, brethren, that even God himself rested on the 7th day. Okay, not because he was tired, but because he want to show an example to all of us. Rest is not the absence of strength. It is actually an act of trust. Whenever you keep the Sabbath, brethren, you are actually making a declaration that I trust God that He will provide all my needs. Okay? Even though if I will not work today, I believe that God will provide all my needs. Number 3. Okay? This is very obvious, but let me just reinforce this. Number 3 is keep the Sabbath holy. Okay? You see, the Sabbath is a holy place. Space. Okay? Holy space that we need to take care of. Think about the Central Park, brethren. If you have seen the pictures or videos of it, it's really a very beautiful place. But no matter how beautiful or relaxing that space is, but if you bring work with you, when you enter that park, you bring your work with you, you bring your worries, you bring distractions, no matter how beautiful Central Park is, you will not enjoy it. The same is true with the Sabbath. So be mindful of what you allow into your Sabbath hours. Okay? That work email that you forgot, let it wait. That business call that you think that's urgent, let go. That social media scroll that will consume an hour before you notice it, put down your phone. That one item you thought you need to buy, just wait for the sunset. Every compromise that you allow through the Sabbath is going to take over your day of rest. Okay, and finally, number 4, the Sabbath is more than just a rest. If you are treating the Sabbath as only a rest, brethren, you are missing a lot. There's so many things that the Sabbath has in store for you. God's invitation is that you don't simply stop from your work. He wants you to come into His presence. He wants you to lay down your burdens upon Him. I want you, brethren, to come in your Sabbath, bringing all your cares and worries to Yahweh. Everything that you have, there are a lot of things that you have not finished, everything that worries you, everything that makes you anxious, give it to God on the Sabbath so that you can fully rest. And when you do that, brethren, God does not just want you to stop working, but He also wants you to worship, to study, to pray and fellowship on the Sabbath. So this is my challenge to you, brethren. Don't let the city swallow your park. Don't let the busyness of life steal your Sabbath. Guard it. Protect it, brethren. Walk into your Sabbath like you're walking through the Central Park. Okay? When you step into the park, your spiritual park in the Sabbath, you are leaving behind the worries, leaving behind the noise, the traffic, all these distractions that the city has. And spend those hours in the presence of the one who has called you out of this chaotic and messy world. Hello friends, I need your help. If this is not too much to ask, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. This should only take 5 seconds of your time, but this simple gesture would help me reach more people and share the Word of God with the rest of the world. You have the power to make a difference in people's lives.